Imagine a tiny molecule, so small it's invisible to the naked eye, quietly shaping your brain's ability to learn, guarding your body against cancer, and helping your genes function properly. Yet for decades, no one knew how it even got into your cells. This isn't science fiction. It's real. And scientists have just solved a mystery that's puzzled biology for over 30 years. For generations, researchers have known that our bodies rely on a wide range of vitamins and nutrients to survive. Vitamin C for immunity, iron for blood, calcium for bones. But tucked away in the fine print of human biochemistry is a lesser-known but equally vital player, a compound called queuosine. You've probably never heard of it. Most people haven't. Yet this obscure molecule plays a role in some of the most fundamental processes that keep us alive and healthy. Queuosine isn't something your body can make on its own. You can't synthesize it like you do certain hormones or enzymes. Instead, you have to get it from two places: the food you eat and the trillions of bacteria living in your gut. It's a vitamin-like nutrient, quietly doing its job behind the scenes, modifying the machinery that turns your DNA into proteins, the very foundation of life. Without it, that machinery doesn't run as smoothly. With it, your cells function more efficiently, your brain may process information better, and your body might be better equipped to fight off diseases like cancer. But here's the puzzle that stumped scientists for decades. If this molecule is so important, how does it actually get inside your cells? Molecules don't just wander in. They need a door. A gate. A specific transporter that recognizes them and ushers them across the cell's protective wall. For years, researchers suspected such a transporter must exist for queuosine, but no matter how hard they looked, they couldn't find it. It was like knowing a key was essential to open a door, but having no idea what the lock looked like. Now, after a global scientific effort spanning multiple continents and institutions, that lock has finally been identified. Researchers have discovered the gene responsible for producing the protein that acts as the doorway for queuosine. This gene, previously a mystery in human biology, is now revealed as the missing link that allows this vital nutrient to enter cells and do its work. The discovery didn't happen overnight. It was the result of decades of curiosity, failed experiments, and incremental progress. Scientists first noticed queuosine in the 1970s, tucked inside the tRNA molecules that help build proteins in every living organism. At the time, it was seen as a chemical curiosity, an odd modification that didn't seem to serve any major purpose. As research advanced, however, patterns began to emerge. Queuosine wasn't just sitting there. It was active. It was influencing how cells read genetic instructions, making the process more accurate and efficient. It was especially abundant in tissues with high metabolic activity, like the brain and rapidly dividing cells. Further studies linked queuosine to critical health outcomes. In animal models, a lack of queuosine was associated with increased tumor growth. In brain tissue, its presence correlated with better cognitive function and memory formation. It even seemed to play a role in how organisms respond to stress, from oxidative damage to environmental changes. But without knowing how it entered cells, scientists were stuck. They could see the effects, but not the mechanism. That changed when researchers began comparing genomes across species. They noticed that certain bacteria and single-celled organisms had genes that seemed to be involved in transporting unusual nucleosides, molecules similar to queuosine. By tracing evolutionary patterns and using advanced computational tools, they began to narrow down a list of candidate genes in humans that might perform a similar function. One gene, in particular, kept appearing in their models. It was part of a larger family of transporter genes, many of which were known to move molecules across cell membranes. But this one had never been properly characterized. No one knew what it carried. It was an orphan gene, present in the human genome, but functionally unassigned. Through a series of experiments, scientists tested whether this gene could be the long-sought queuosine transporter. They removed it from human cells in the lab and observed what happened. Without it, queuosine couldn't get inside. The cells showed signs of dysfunction, slower growth, errors in protein production, reduced resilience to stress. Then, when they reintroduced the gene, queuosine uptake resumed. The door was open again. The mystery was solved. The implications of this discovery ripple across medicine, nutrition, and our understanding of the human body. For the first time, scientists can begin to explore how to manipulate this pathway for health benefits. Imagine a future where a simple supplement or probiotic, designed to boost queuosine levels, could help protect against cancer, slow cognitive decline, or even improve learning and memory. That future may be closer than we think. But the story of queuosine is about more than just one molecule. It's a window into the hidden connections between our diet, our gut bacteria, and our genes. Most of the queuosine in your body doesn't come directly from food. It's produced by the microbes living in your intestines. These bacteria synthesize the compound and release it into the gut, where it's then absorbed into the bloodstream and distributed to cells throughout the body. This means your health isn't just shaped by what you eat, but by the microscopic ecosystem inside you. A balanced, diverse microbiome may be essential for maintaining adequate queuosine levels, another reason why gut health is increasingly seen as central to overall well-being. This also raises questions about modern lifestyles. Processed diets, antibiotics, and environmental toxins can disrupt the gut microbiome. If those disruptions reduce the bacteria that produce queuosine, could that contribute to rising rates of cancer, neurological disorders, or metabolic disease? It's too early to say for sure, but the possibility is now on the table. Scientists can now begin to study these links in a more targeted way, measuring queuosine levels in different populations and seeing how they correlate with diet, disease, and lifestyle. Another exciting angle is the gene itself. The transporter gene isn't just a passive doorway. It's a dynamic player in cellular function. Previous studies had noticed that this gene was active in certain types of cancer cells and that it might influence how those cells respond to chemotherapy. But without knowing its natural function, those observations were confusing. Now, researchers can re-examine that data with fresh eyes. Maybe cancer cells hijack this transporter to fuel their rapid growth. Or perhaps manipulating the gene could make cancer cells more vulnerable to treatment. Either way, the discovery adds a new layer to the fight against one of medicine's most persistent challenges. The brain is another frontier. Queuosine is highly concentrated in neural tissue, and its role in tRNA modification suggests it helps fine-tune the production of proteins involved in learning and memory. When neurons fire, form new connections, or adapt to new information, they rely on precise protein synthesis. Queuosine appears to help ensure that process runs smoothly. In animal studies, deficiencies in queuosine have been linked to impaired cognitive function. Could boosting queuosine levels, through diet, supplements, or even gene therapy, help maintain brain health as we age? Could it play a role in conditions like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, or other neurodegenerative diseases? These are bold questions, but now, for the first time, science has the tools to start answering them. What makes this discovery especially remarkable is how it underscores the power of collaboration. No single lab could have cracked this puzzle alone. It required microbiologists, geneticists, biochemists, computational biologists, and experts in human physiology, all working across borders and disciplines. Labs in the United States, Ireland, and Northern Ireland shared data, tested hypotheses, and built on each other's findings. Funding from national health agencies helped sustain the effort over many years, even when progress was slow. It's a reminder that some of the most important breakthroughs don't come from sudden eureka moments, but from persistent, collective effort. And perhaps the most humbling part of this story is how much we still don't know. Queuosine is just one of many modified nucleosides in the human body. There are dozens more, each tucked into RNA molecules, each potentially playing a role in health and disease. Scientists have barely scratched the surface of understanding what they do and how they work. The discovery of the queuosine transporter opens the door not just to one nutrient, but to an entire field of exploration, an invisible world of molecular fine-tuning that may hold answers to some of our biggest health challenges. It also changes how we think about nutrition. For years, dietary science has focused on macronutrients, proteins, fats, carbohydrates, and well-known vitamins and minerals. But what if there are other, lesser-known compounds that are just as important? Compounds that don't show up on a nutrition label but are essential for optimal function? Queuosine may be the first of many such molecules to emerge from the shadows. This discovery also highlights the limitations of reductionist science. For decades, researchers looked for the queuosine transporter by studying human cells in isolation. But the breakthrough came only when they looked broader, comparing species, studying evolution, considering the role of gut bacteria. It's a lesson in systems thinking. The human body doesn't operate in a vacuum. It's a complex network of interactions between genes, cells, microbes, and environment. To understand one piece, you often have to see the whole picture. Looking ahead, this finding could lead to entirely new classes of therapies. Imagine a drug that enhances queuosine uptake in the brain to support cognitive health. Or a probiotic cocktail designed to boost queuosine-producing bacteria in the gut. Or even a diagnostic test that measures queuosine levels as a biomarker for cancer risk or neurological decline. These aren't pipe dreams. They're now within the realm of possibility. But perhaps the most profound impact of this discovery is the way it shifts our understanding of what it means to be human. We often think of ourselves as singular organisms, governed solely by our own DNA. But the reality is far more complex. We are ecosystems. We depend on trillions of microbes to digest food, train our immune system, and yes, even supply us with essential nutrients like queuosine. We are not just human. We are human plus microbiome, a superorganism shaped by both our genes and the invisible life within us. In that light, queuosine is more than a nutrient. It's a symbol of interconnectedness. It's a reminder that health is not just about avoiding disease, but about nurturing the delicate balance of biological processes that sustain us. It's a molecule that links the food on your plate to the bacteria in your gut to the neurons firing in your brain, all working together in silent harmony. And now, after decades of searching, we finally understand one small but crucial part of that system. We know how queuosine gets in. We know the door it uses. What happens next, how we use that knowledge to improve lives, prevent disease, and deepen our understanding of life itself, that's the next chapter. One thing is certain, the tiniest molecules can have the biggest impact. And sometimes, the most important discoveries are the ones that were hiding in plain sight all along. And that's the incredible story of a tiny molecule that's been working behind the scenes in your body your entire life, without you ever knowing its name. From helping your brain form memories to potentially protecting you from cancer, queuosine might just be one of the most important nutrients you've never heard of. And now, after more than 30 years of scientific detective work, we finally know how it gets inside your cells. This isn't just a win for biology, it's a breakthrough that could one day change how we treat disease, boost brain health, and understand the powerful connection between our gut and our genes. If you found this deep dive into the hidden world of human biology fascinating, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss another story of science unraveling the mysteries of life. Because sometimes, the smallest discoveries make the biggest difference. See you in the next video.